Free Badass. How are you tonight? I'm really glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us. All right, so we live in a wonderful country, but to be gluten-free in the United States can be hard because everything is so wheat-based. Our foods, our restaurants, our cookbooks, wheat and gluten everywhere. So what are we supposed to do? I think that we need to start looking at other cultures that are not quite as reliant on wheat and use naturally gluten-free grains, whether those people happen to be gluten-free or not. So we are starting with South Africa, and we are going to meld South African grits with a Bavarian goulash. We are going to become International Gluten Free Badasses. Woohoo! All right, so we are going to start with the goulash, okay? And in order to do the goulash, we are starting with some onions. You might even hear them already sizzling. Ooh, and I can smell them, and when they're cooking and they're getting mellow and caramelized, I am getting very excited. So let's see who's cooking our onions for us today, shall we? Who do we have here?
Hi! Mom, I'm starting to turn a little bit, like some
little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at this, all right? So what we did about 10 minutes ago, and this is gonna take about 25 minutes total, is we put in enough canola oil to cover the bottom of the Instant Pot, over here, and then we added some butter, not a ton of butter. The original recipe that actually came here from Bavaria, I will tell you more about that later, starts with a whole stick of butter. Now, I am all for being wicked, but it does combine a little bit better when we put a little wholesome. So we put enough butter in there for flavor, but with the canola oil, we get a little bit of that wholesome also. Then we put in 2 cups of diced onion, and we're gonna let those cook and caramelize. Now, I'm gonna have us take a look at how they're just starting to turn a little bit tan while I put on the stove here for this to boil, okay? And what we're looking to happen here is we want them to turn brown, and then we actually want them to start to turn black on the edges. I'm just gonna throw out one thing. Catherine, if you would hit refresh. Could we do that? That would be awesome. Thank you. We just want to try to find those comments that you all are making. So what we're looking for, so this is, I think, so fascinating about different cultures and how they cook. Many cultures brown the meat in order to get that kind of wonderful crust and flavor to their stews. In goulash, we're actually browning the onions, which I find absolutely amazing. So we're going to get caramelized onions. We're just going to cook the beef regular, and we're going to have this amazing combination. So we're going to have Catherine on onion watch, which is a very, very important watch. And what we're going to do is she's going to make sure that they get brown, and then when they just start to turn black on the edges, she's going to let us know, because we don't want that tipping point where all of a sudden they become burnt. We just want them to be dark.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, so you keep working on that. And can you hear that? You can hear a little bit more of that, I don't know, just the bubbling noise changes. It becomes a little more crackly. And that's why I love cooking. It's like a sensory experience in so many different ways. All right, so while Catherine here is working on our goulash, let's head over to the stove and make our South African grits. All right? What we're doing here is we're boiling some water, and we are going to add grits. And I'm gonna show you some differences, okay? You can get grits that, like, you're probably a little more used to, where they're kind of, grainy or gritty, not coincidentally, and which I've never been the biggest fan of. Do you like those sort of more coarse grits? Totally awesome. You could use those if you wanted. What I'm gonna use tonight, which you are welcome to also, is more, look at this, it's a little bit more of a flour, a corn flour. And if it is South African, we're actually not going to call it grits. We're going to call it pap, because that's what they call it. And they love using white, kind of the cornmeal flour. And we're going to use this, and what we're going to wait for is the water to boil. And we're almost there. And what's so fascinating, again, when I was reading some of the recipes and kind of figuring out, what's the combination that we want to use, I was fascinated by some of the verbs they use. So instead of just gently pour your cornmeal into the water, they they use the verb rain. Gently rain your cornmeal into the flour. I like that idea. So we're going to do it gently. So we're going to start putting this in just a little at a time, and that helps reduce. Can you see how that boils up? And we're going to stir it right away. That helps reduce the lumps. And we're going to get some lumps because I haven't been doing this for like 50 years. I've been doing this just a couple of times. And may I say, I have fallen in love with South African pap. When you see the other flavors we put into it, not only would it taste good just on its own, like a bowl of it, just for beautiful, like a wonderful afternoon snack, but I put over easy eggs on it in the morning. And man, am I in love with that. It is so good. So here we go, we're just stirring this up. So some of the other flavors that we're gonna put in there, that again that I got from this wonderful, primarily from this chef that I saw on television, Zola Nene. So that's Z-O-L-A, and then her last name is N-E-N-E. And she is like a celebrity chef down in South Africa, and she is using her food to really like bridge the gap that still occurs between whites and blacks down there. And I think that's so wonderful because you know what? Food can do so many things. All right, let's now that so take a look at that. Now, because it's corn, we're actually going to kind of treat it some of the ways that we would. Let's put some salt in there. Oh, okay, that's enough salt. And let's put some butter, right? Because when we eat our corn on the cob, salt and butter makes it so much better. And we're going to stir that up, and it's so easy. We're going to stir this up, and when we put the cheese in it, it's actually going to go for about 5 minutes. So while I'm stirring, I'm going to yell over to Catherine. Catherine, how are our onions going?
Most of them, or some of them, actually are getting brown. Woo.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a look. Let's take a good look. Okay, we're making progress. Again, it still smells so good. So let's stir this. And now we're going to put in Parmesan cheese that we've grated. And I always prefer to put on I like to get my own like block of it and then shred it myself. It's so much fresher. And I'm just going to take a look. So Kelly Shemaleski, thank you so much for your comment. And yes, bop in and out. We would love for you to try these grits. Now here's the part that I really think makes this. It is aged cheddar cheese. So you don't just want some regular kind that you're buying, you know, your normal block kind. Oh yeah, try some. We are going to use 8 years aged. Now, when I'm just eating some cheese, some aged cheddar cheese, I tend to get like the 12 year. But we don't want to break the bank for just regular meals, so we're going to use 8 because you still get that nice mature flavor. All right, so let's pour that in. I know I said hi to Kelly.
No,
we are.
she commented again.
Ooh, Kelly, what are you saying? Oh gosh, someone wants to know if you got a haircut, Catherine.
Yes, I did.
Yes. And thank you, Kelly, for the lovely compliment to both of us. Yes. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We're going to put it back over the heat a little bit just to let that melt. All right. And again, I love this idea of the aged cheese. And it just adds that depth of flavor that really just makes it craveable. I'd be curious, when you make this, what else do you put on top of it or do you serve with it? I hope you will comment back on here, or feel free just to write and we'll comment for you, because one of the things I really believe is that we all have gluten-free expertise. We're all cooking meals that we love in our home, and it's so good to share those so that we can all benefit and get that fun repertoire.
Hey, Mom.
Yes, Sweepy, where are we at? Let's take a look at the onions, okay?
Brown.
Ooh, okay, let's take a closer look. Yeah, but we want them all to be brown.
And then some of the edges are turning black, but not very.
Not yet, not yet. We still need more time. Thank you for being on top of that. All right, so let's taste this, and let's get a couple pieces out, because we're going to have Catherine taste it too. Can you take this? Can you blow on it?
Is it hot?
Yeah, it's going to be hot, so blow on it. Ooh, ooh. Now, pap, you do want to eat it after you cook it. When it sits there for a little bit, I mean, it's not bad if you want to re-microwave it, but this is it at its prime.
This is really good.
Yes.
What?
Yes. Have
Okay.
more, just make sure you blow on it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Again, that
Could you
aged
get it?
cheddar.
'Cause I don't wanna burn myself.
No burning. I hear you on that. Let me get you your own bowl. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's do this. One bowl. But then you still have to go back and check those onions.
Okay.
All right?
I'll go check
We'll bring
this
these
out.
over to you. And then we'll talk more about the history of goulash, which I think is super fun and interesting. All right, my dear. Here we go. I might steal some from you this time.
No.
All right, so while we're still working on the onions, let's talk about the history of goulash. All right? It started in Hungary, as you might imagine, since we often hear about Hungarian goulash. And so what makes a goulash versus a stew? And the difference is a goulash has 3 key ingredients to it: beef, onions, paprika. And the reason for that is when the Hungarian cowboys were herding their cattle across Europe to different places, including Bavaria, they would basically need to eat. They would take a cattle, I can't think of quite the term.
A
cow. And they would kill the weakest one, and they would then go rummaging for wild onions, and they would take out of their pocket a little packet of paprika, which was known as poor man's pepper, because it was a fraction of the price of black pepper, which was very coveted and thus very expensive. And so what I love is they're out there on the range, the Hungarian or Bavarian range, and they do not have time to be gathering wheat and milling it. So they made this stew, and interestingly, paprika is actually a thickening agent. We don't need xanthan gum, we don't need flour, we don't even need cornstarch in this. We are simply going to let the liquids from the onions and from the beef just get smothered with the onions and have that paprika, and ooh, wait till you try it. All right, we need another onion check. Where are we? Oh, look at this.
Most of them are getting brown, actually.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I'm just gonna stir it again here.
All right, have to keep doing that. So not only are we International Gluten Free Badasses today, but we are International Gluten Free Cowboy or Cowgirl Badasses.
Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly. I wish we had a cowboy hat. I'll just pretend. All right. So in terms of this recipe as well, what I think is always so interesting is the imprints that like ex-girlfriends or boyfriends or they friends leave on us after we're done dating them. So this is a wonderful recipe from an old boyfriend whose grandmother came over from Bavaria, and this is her actual recipe that she would make and that her family continues. Now, you might imagine she did not use an Instapot. She would let her goulash cook on the stove for 3 hours. We are going to just add our little bit of modern technology, and we are going to use the Instant Pot because then when we put the beef in, it only needs to cook for 25 minutes. And I like to eat sooner rather than later. So my question for you is and let's make it positive and keep it clean because we have kids here, what positive thing did you receive from, say, past boyfriends, girlfriends, or they friends? And for example, that wonderful mixer back there, that's from an ex-boyfriend. If we look at, I found out how chicken McNuggets were made and how they got their different shapes by an ex-boyfriend. I know, isn't that fascinating? And Kelly Shemaleski, yes, those onions are amazing. They are so mellow and...
They look all brown.
Oh, let's look. We've got an onion report. Where are we at? All right, we're getting there, but amazingly, we're not there yet. We literally want to see some black, but
Ooh,
not
that smells
all
so
black.
good.
Doesn't it?
I want to eat them now.
I
but
know.
It's so hot.
Oh, just caramelized onions are good on everything. And they're just contained and so happy there. Oh, you're gonna eat more grits? Good. Or more pep, I should say. I'm trying to think what else. Oh my gosh, chilaquiles. Now there's a breakfast that is now my favorite. Again, because of someone who I dated. So it's kind of fun. I really like this. So I am thankful for this recipe and that it was shared with me. All right, let's get you a little bit more. Keep this. Okay, now we still need to leave enough for dinner tonight.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I would say with the test meal, I have to tell you, I totally ate all of this. I ate the extra beef. I couldn't stay away from it. I ate it for lunch and dinner, and I know you're gonna love it. All right. Now, what cuisines are your favorites? Where have you traveled the world and thought, ooh, I've got to make this at home? I would love to know. And was it gluten-free, or were you able to put a gluten-free twist on it and add your own kind of components? I am wondering. Kelly, where is my wine? I'll be honest with you. My stomach is not happy today, so I am not drinking any wine, but oh, if I was, you know that I usually like a very robust wine. I usually like a Malbec or a Cabernet, or even better yet, a Zinfandel. But with this meal, what I would pair it with is a Pinot Noir. Now, usually Pinot Noirs are a little little mellow for me, but given the strong flavors that we're dealing here with, onions and paprika, aged cheddar, we want to have something that complements it.
They're turning very brownish.
Okay, let's look again, and then we're going to talk about what else to serve with this wonderful meal. Ooh, look at that. We're getting brown. Okay. I would recommend with this meal, given that so much of it is soft, we have soft pap. We're going to have fork tender, soft, what am I trying to say? Beef, thank you. We want to have something kind of crunchy and crisp. So I would say like a romaine lettuce salad. You could go Caesar salad if you had a gluten-free dressing, and no croutons, of course, unless you had your own special gluten-free croutons. But I would recommend just something crunchy, like a salad on the side. And Kelly, Thai food. Ooh. What was your favorite dish that you were out there? And I guess a Pinot Noir, I am all for that. And other people who are hearting and liking us, thank you. Can't always see all those while we're working together, but we are grateful. Oops, okay, let's put this back on.
You mad?
That's right, no, it's not mad. What we're doing is, hold on. It only goes on for 29 minutes at a time. All right, so let's take another look, and why don't you stir it? Oh, Kelly, I understand we can't choose just one dish. I know. Ooh, okay, why is it still mad? Why is it yelling that it's not? Nope, it's just saying it's on. It's not mad. All right, so we are almost there. So let's talk about how much paprika you're gonna put in. Really, there's all sorts of different levels. If you're thinking, I really want to taste the beef, but after I've done the afterglow, I want to taste a little bit of that smoky heat of the paprika, then you want 1 teaspoon. If you are going to, and you're thinking to yourself, nope, when I taste this, I want to have kind of that paprika on the front, middle, and end of my, of the flavor profile, and I want to taste it all, then you go with 2 teaspoons. If you're thinking, I am a paprika fanatic, then you want to put 3 teaspoons in. And then you're really going to get kind of that wonderful smoky heat. But if you just have that 1 teaspoon, it's smoky but not so heatish, which sometimes is kind of what I have to do too. All right, my friend, I'm glad you like that. Let's take a look at these onions again. We are obsessed. Ooh, Kelly, I would like that soup. And yes, I want to have you make it. We have to think about when we're going to see each other again. I'm not sure we have something on the calendar, and we need to.
There's some of them are turning black.
Okay, let's go back so we can look in there. Ooh. All right, we are just about there. All right, so what we have is really caramelized onions right now, and we are going to put in, and how's this for easy? It's onions, it is onions, oil, a little bit of butter, beef, paprika, salt and pepper. This is my kind of meal. Little effort, high flavor, perfect return on your investment. All right, so you just put in the pepper. Now, mind you, we're not being perfect cowboys and girls right now by putting in the black pepper, but we can still enjoy a little bit of that extra flavor in the modern world. You can put your paprika in. Oops, there we go. Okay, and then if you would, Catherine, would you please stir that up? Yep, thank you. Yeah, put your gloves on so we make sure that, because it's hot, but it doesn't spit, which is good. Some dishes, they do spit at you, and this doesn't, which is always a bonus. All right, so can we see now how some of the edges are starting to get very, very dark? If we look like right there, we don't want him coming totally black. So this is, I really think, the ideal time to add our beef. If you don't mind, Kevin, I will take this.
Would you like the glove?
No, I'm good. And we're gonna put the beef in.
Stay back.
Goodness, let's get that friends in there. Okay, there we go. Yep. And let's just, we're just gonna give it a good stir. Right, that is good. And we are going to now put on in the pot. All right, why don't you, if you don't mind, we are going to put on, I'm gonna cancel, we're gonna put on the pressure cooker, and it's gonna cook for 25 minutes. And if you have one, or once you have your Instapot, because really it makes gluten-free cooking so much faster and easier, and honestly, I think it improves the texture of all the grains. What we wanna do is, you wanna do, they talk about sometimes the natural release or the quick release. You're gonna do the quick release, all right? You'll take your top off, you're gonna saute it a little bit if you want your kind of like gravy a little bit, that goulash-iness. If you want it kind of more liquidy, then serve it right away. If you want it a little thicker, then just let it boil away for a little bit and you're gonna be perfect. So let's take a look, because we, as delightful it is for us to all hang out, we probably don't need to hang out for another 25 minutes. Come take a look at this. Here, so look at that beef. Ooh. Oh, holy moly. And that onion.
Yummy.
There is no other flavor like Bavarian goulash. If you look, you can kind of see, you can see the paprika in there, how it's kind of, you can see the kind of the beautiful orange in there. We have the bits of the onion that start to disintegrate and what am I trying to say? Thicken the sauce. Obviously, we're gonna fight about this, about who gets how much of the goulash tonight.
I like some too.
You want some too, buddy? Absolutely. Let's do this. Let's put it all together. And we're gonna put our wonderful pap, our South African pap in here. And then we're gonna put our wonderful Bavarian goulash. And, ooh, Felix, thank you so much that you think it looks delicious. We'll make that for you the next time you come and swim at our pool. Okay. Oh, just perfection. Paprika, onions, beef on top of corn and 2 different kinds of cheeses. Oh, this is gluten-free living, I will tell you that. All right, as always, if you start to make something, it's not quite going the way you want, or it goes wonderfully, either way, email me. Ask me questions, show me what you've been up to, because we badasses need to stick together. Meanwhile, please, for the upcoming week, be you. You are a wonderful gift to this world, and you should never, ever compromise on being you. All right, I know we have another comment. Ooh, Felix. We're gonna say that because we know you're excited. We love you, we love all of you, and have a wonderful week.